The Middle East is once again on the edge. Iran and Israel, two bitter rivals, are now pushing the world toward a broader conflict. But what happens next? Will this war expand? Will world powers like the US, Russia, and China get directly involved? In this video, we'll analyze the possible future of this war and why the next step might not be a battlefield move, but a geopolitical checkmate. Stay tuned till the end, because I'll share a perspective that could change how you view the entire conflict. When we talk about the Iran-Israel conflict, we're not just talking about two countries exchanging fire. We're looking at a much deeper, decades-long power struggle, one rooted in religion, ideology, nuclear ambition, and control over the region. And today, this rivalry has reached a boiling point. In recent weeks, tensions have escalated dramatically. Iran has been accelerating its nuclear program, pushing closer to weapons-grade capability, and for Israel, that's an unacceptable threat, a clear red line. So, how did Israel respond? With exactly what you'd expect. Preemptive action, covert operations, precision airstrikes, cyber warfare, and a relentless campaign to slow Iran down. But Iran hasn't been quiet either. It's been firing back, directly and indirectly, through proxy forces like Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. These groups have long acted as Iran's extended arm across the Middle East. But here's something many people overlook. In the last 2 years, these proxy groups have been systematically weakened. US and Israeli intelligence efforts, drone strikes, and targeted missions have eroded their effectiveness. The result? Iran is now more isolated than ever on the battlefield. And that's exactly why things are getting more dangerous. Because when you corner a country that feels it's losing its grip, it doesn't step back, it doubles down. This war isn't just about territory or retaliation, it's about survival, pride, and influence in a region that has already seen too much conflict. Both Iran and Israel believe they can't afford to lose. And that's what's making this moment in history so critical and so unpredictable. So, what could stop this war? In my opinion, it ends only when the United States feels their nuclear facility is destroyed. It may sound extreme, but if you look closely at the behavior of world powers, this might just be the calculated move everyone is waiting for. Let's break it down. The world is watching this conflict very carefully. Russia, China, Europe, the United States. Each has its own interest. Surprisingly, even Iran's so-called friends, Russia and China, might benefit from American involvement. Think about it. Russia might want the United States distracted so it can push harder in Ukraine. China would welcome United States entanglement in the Middle East because it brings Beijing one step closer to its own goal, taking over Taiwan by 2027, a claim made by multiple global analysts. So, if America gets pulled into a conflict with Iran, Russia gets breathing space, and China gets cover, and the Middle East becomes the new center of global attention. What about Israel? Well, for Israel, this would be exactly what they need, a stronger ally, the United States military, deployed across the region. Iran would suddenly face American military bases in Qatar, Iraq, Bahrain, the UAE, and the Mediterranean. Their forces would be forced to disperse, weakening their impact on Israel. In short, if America steps in, Iran's capacity to strike Israel drops dramatically. Missile attacks are reduced, the conflict starts to tilt. And don't forget, if the United States is in NATO might follow European nations, especially the UK and France, could add their own firepower. Iran knows it would be outgunned on every front, ultimately seeking a way to ceasefire in a respectable way. So, in this chessboard of power politics, the next move turned out to be a United States airstrike backed quietly by the world's biggest players, and Iran might never even see it coming. This isn't just about stopping Iran's nuclear ambitions. It's about redrawing power lines in the Middle East, once again with American hands. So, now we're at a critical stage of the conflict. Though ceasefire has been announced, the United States has already bombed Iran's nuclear site. It's unclear if this has delayed nuclear program just by a few months. The strike was swift, calculated, and according to multiple reports, highly effective, though we still have to wait fourth fact and whether the nuclear bomb program has been completely destroyed. Not just the site, but, even now, the bigger question is, what happens next for Iran? On paper, Iran is still defiant. Their government has stated clearly, we will not back down. Well, now they have been, and this puts Iran in a deeply vulnerable position despite their strong rhetoric. The truth is, Iran can't fight a direct war with both Israel and the US at full scale. Their air defense systems are outdated. Their economy is already under pressure from sanctions, and with the nuclear site possibly crippled, their ultimate bargaining chip might be gone. But here's where it gets even more complex. Iran has powerful friends, Russia and China. And while these allies won't let Iran fall completely, they also don't want Iran to actually possess a nuclear bomb. Think about it. A nuclear-armed Iran makes the Middle East unstable, even for China's Belt and Road dreams, or Russia's oil diplomacy. Additionally, sparks a nuclear arms race with Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and even Egypt possibly joining in. And most importantly, it gives Iran too much autonomy, reducing the control Russia and China have over it. China even has huge investment in Iran, so what do? They support Iran from the shadows, with weapons, intelligence, maybe even cyber tools, enough to keep Iran in the fight, but not enough to push the war beyond the red lines. It's a classic great power move, backing the pawn without letting it become a queen. In simple terms, Russia and China can't afford Iran to lose, but they also can't afford Iran to win too much. Different media even claim that America and China has a secret deal on Iran's oil. This leaves Iran in an incredibly tight spot, alone, on the front line, yet cautiously supported from behind. The nuclear dream may have been shattered, at least for now, and that changes the entire dynamic of this war. At this stage, with the US having struck Iran's nuclear facility, and with global powers quietly playing their parts, we are moving toward what might be the beginning of the endgame. Let's be clear, this war is far from over. But the objective might have been achieved. Although recent news claim the nuclear facility has not been destroyed, Iran's nuclear progress will remain halted for a few months. Still, this strike has changed everything, because now there's a window for de-escalation. Not because Iran wants peace, not because Israel feels safe, rather, Russia and China need to prevent a wider collapse in the region. Even America do not want any further escalation after Qatar American base was attacked. So, what's likely to happen next? The most probable outcome is a temporary ceasefire, not a peace treaty, not normalization. Just a pause, enough for all sides to breathe and rebuild their strategies. Here's how that might unfold. 1. Russia and China will push hard throw-back channels for Iran to stop further retaliation. 2. Israel, with its main objective achieved, may hold fire, unless provoked again. 3. The US, having shown strength, may reduce air operations but keep its forces in place. This isn't about peace, it's about managing chaos, a controlled tension, because for world powers, too much war is risky, but total peace is inconvenient too. What they all want is balance, a fragile one, but still, a balance of fear, strategy, and deterrence. And that's why we might see the missiles slow down, but gradually. Not because the war was won, but because the message was delivered, a clear message to Iran. Your nuclear path has a limit. You're not alone, but your friends may not fight your war, and if you go too far, you'll stand alone. So, where does all of this leave us? We've seen Iran isolated for nuclear power, we've seen Israel strike, we've seen the US just step in, and we've watched global powers quietly shape the outcome from behind the scenes. The big picture is now clear. Iran's nuclear ambitions have been set back, possibly for years. Israel has sent a message: it won't tolerate a nuclear threat next door. The US has reasserted dominance in the region. And Russia and China, they've played their roles, without firing a single shot. That's the brilliance of modern geopolitical warfare. It's no longer just about bombs and bullets, it's about strategy, silence, and influence. And if we read between the lines, Iran's own allies may have used this moment to serve their long-term interests, which might not be visible immediately. The fact is, they don't want Iran to be destroyed. They want Iran to remain as a useful player, not a dangerous wildcard. So what did they do? They stood strong from behind Iran, cheered on publicly, but let Iran absorb the blow alone. And in the end, they just fired the gun from America's shoulder, and Iran pulled the trigger. If you found this analysis informative, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. And if you want more deep dive geopolitical content like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. What do you think will happen next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and keep questioning the headlines.